Dear friends, hello. Welcome to another issue of the Forum 2000 online chat. This is a new series of online discussions that we are doing with important and interesting people from the Forum 2000 network. We are focusing these on the current issues, but mostly looking at how the current pandemics and related developments will affect freedom and democracy around the world. Today, we are very delighted to welcome with us your friend and colleague, Ms. Ketty Chen, the acting president of the Taiwan Foundation for Democracy. And we would like to look at how Taiwan is managing, apparently very successfully, this current crisis. What can be the lessons for the rest of the world, and also we will look at some of the broader consequences and broader issues, such as the changing relationship with China in this context, and what will be the fallout of all of this. So, Ketty, welcome. Thank you for being with us, and let's just dive into it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Given the context of other countries, all of which have been choosing their different path in dealing with the current COVID pandemics, can you please explain what Taiwan is doing in tackling this crisis?
I think Taiwan has been doing relatively well compared to other countries around the world because the current administration really reacted very quickly ahead of pretty much everybody else. So around the end of Lunar New Year, which is January of this year, the Taiwanese administration realized that there's some kind of lung disease or pneumonia going on in China. So the Taiwanese government actually sent some scientists to China to try to figure out what that was. And the Taiwanese government actually told the WHO that was confirmed by the US State Department very early on in the beginning of this year that the disease might possibly be contagious between human beings. But Taiwan, being not a member of the World Health Organization, did receive response from the WHO saying that they received the information, but that was the extent of it. So the Taiwanese government decided to take matter into its own hands. So when at the end of January, the government actually banned the export of facial mask, which is, as we know, is a scarcity around the world right now. So I think on the 24th of January, the government banned the export of facial mask. And it decided that within the next 2 months, they want to add 60 more production line of facial masks, making Taiwan the second largest facial mask producer in the world. So that actually happened towards the end of last month, March. So now Taiwan is able to manufacture about 10 million masks per day. So because Taiwan actually learned a lesson about 17 years ago when the SARS epidemic broke in Asia in 2003. So in the past almost 2 decades, Taiwan has been really preparing itself just in case something like this happened. So our Ministry of Health and Welfare really reacted very quickly. So now, as we were talking earlier, the ministry actually has press briefings every day at 2 o'clock to inform the public of how the ministry is tracking. And also, the government actually did a very good job in promoting awareness in public health, encouraging people to wear facial masks. And in every commercial break on television, they keep emphasizing washing hands, using hand sanitizers, just to make sure that the citizens really followed basic health procedures. And also in the how when they tackled the first wave of outbreak, the administration actually banned flights from China. And one of the things that's I would say a good thing in disguise was that in order to punish the DPP administration, or the what China deemed as pro-independence administration, China actually banned Chinese tourists from going to Taiwan before the New Year's. So the number of Chinese tourists in Taiwan actually dwindled dramatically. But that's supposed to serve as a punishment for the Taiwanese government and also the Taiwanese voters' choice of President Tsai. However, that's a blessing in disguise, because there were not a lot of Chinese tourists compared to, let's say, to Europe or to North America. So the administration subsequently banned flights. So there's only 5 flights from 5 different locations from China to Taiwan now. And also during last month, there's no transit in Taiwan, and international flights were banned as well. So only Taiwanese citizens and foreign citizens with permanent residency could come into Taiwan for the time being. And also, the Taiwanese administration used people's cell phone to track the movements of people coming in. So now they are able to track those who have entered Taiwan and are in self-quarantine, and to make sure that the people stayed where they are. And the administration also activated the borough or village chief, I would say that their offices, so that they could bring food, condiments, and drinks to those people, to the people who are staying at home. So they're not starving and they're not going out and about. So these are some of the things that the administration has been doing so far. And I think one of the really important thing that I want to mention is that it's the democratic governance and transparency and informing the public, not hiding informations and numbers, that really assist the Taiwanese public to not become panicky and trying to hoard food or toilet papers. So this is why I think that Taiwan has been doing pretty well so far.
How has the general public, the citizens of Taiwan, how have they accepted and followed these new rules and procedures?
Since the SARS epidemic, I think the trauma actually linger with the Taiwanese public. So Taiwanese has been very used to, if you have a cold or have flu, they will wear a facial mask onto public transportations or at workplaces. And compared to other parts of the world, people in Taiwan do not frown upon those who have facial masks on. So in the Taiwanese daily life, it's pretty usual. So now it's just, I think a few days ago, the administration now imposed yet another rules that if you want to go on public transportations, you will have to wear facial masks. And we don't really receive a lot of complaints with citizens. So the public polls of the administrators, for example, President Tsai, the premier, and especially the health minister, are relatively high, being, the health minister's poll number being in the high 90s of being approved by Taiwanese citizens.
Has these measures and this extraordinary situation, has it affected in any way the normal functioning of the government or of the country, I assume, but of the government? Has there, for example, been an emergency law or anything to that extent?
There's two legislations that were passed by the new legislature. One is to make sure that there's subsidies for businesses and industries that's effectively affected by the epidemic. And also there's legislation that was passed to prevent disinformation being distributed um, of the COVID-19 epidemic. So unfortunately for Taiwan, not only does the Taiwanese government have to fend or combat the pandemic, but also there is the information warfare that the government has to tackle. And the Ministry of Justice's Special Investigative Bureau have been working hard to tackle that front as well.
Mm-hmm. This brings us to my next question. You have already mentioned it to a certain extent in your previous response. Has the current crisis somehow transformed the Taiwanese relationship with the large neighbor, China?
I think the relationship is pretty much the similar after President Tsai Ing-wen was elected by a very high number, actually the highest vote in Taiwan's democratic history. So China has been really working hard to not only poach Taiwan's democratic ally, but also influence Taiwanese societies and trying to invoke information warfare to further divide Taiwanese societies. So I think the current situation is pretty much the continuation of what China has been doing on Taiwan since before the election.
Okay. And what do you believe will happen after the situation calms down? What will be the longer term repercussions, both for let's say China-Taiwan relationship and for the Taiwan's position globally? Will there be any longer term consequences?
The Tsai administration has always been open. The administration has always been open to have discussion with China, but at the same time, still advocating and protecting Taiwan's democracy and Taiwanese people's right to determine their future. So I think during the epidemic, because of the information warfare from across the straits, the Taiwanese further realized that the attempt of the authoritarian regime to divide Taiwanese society and to block Taiwan from participating in international organizations and collaborating with partner countries on, for instance, in this case, partnership in developing vaccines, testing kids, and assisting or donating facial masks. So I really don't foresee the Chinese tactic or treatment of Taiwan is going to be any different in the future. But at the same time, I think through combating this pandemic, Taiwan has really demonstrated that it is a country that could really assist countries around the world with its expertise, with medical supplies or medical technology, and even digital technology. So I think this combating the pandemic actually catapulted Taiwan onto the international arena. One thing that I have not mentioned is the very good job that Taiwan's digital minister, Audrey Tang, has been doing. She was appointed by President Tsai, and now she has been really spearheading into creating programs where citizens could purchase masks online, and then they could go to local pharmacies and convenience stores to retrieve their facial masks. And there's more than 100 maps that you could access on your cell phone. So you will know which convenience store and which pharmacy has facial masks left. So you won't have to go to the store and encounter there's zero masks. So you know citizens will always know where to go retrieve what they need. So this is another things that I found pretty interesting and amazing on the part of Minister Tang. So.
Well, Ketty, thank you very much. This has been tremendously interesting. We keep our fingers crossed for all our friends in Taiwan in keeping in this successful struggle against the virus, as we all are trying to do. And all the best, and talk to you hopefully in person in Prague or somewhere else very soon. Goodbye.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.